Hey, welcome to Games Vitae. My name is Majay, and today we're doing the very prolonged series of my top 100 games of 2025. It is more than halfway through 2026, and we are going to finish the series come heck or high water. All right, before we get started, make sure you like, subscribe, and hit the notification button. Share this channel with your friends. I was thinking in preparing for this video that I could be more helpful as to why you, the viewer, might want to look into some of these games and explore them for yourself. So I'm going to try and give more information on these games that would maybe help you decide those things. So let's get started. Today we're doing 40 through 31. So number 40. Number 40 is Hickory Dickory. This is a great family game. It is for 1 to 4 players, and it's recommended for 10 and up. I think this is a game that, with the right guidance, you could probably maybe go a little bit younger even. But this game is just delightful. It sits well on the table, looks great, and the mechanics are very friendly. It's a worker placement rondel type game, set collection, where you have these mice. They're different sized workers and different storage capacities that ride around on this minute hand on the clock. And for each hour mark, they can get off and get certain resources. Or anyway, and you go around and you get these tiles that sit a stack on your player board, similar to kind of like Azul, but it's its own mechanism, and it's just a great game where you have point scoring that you can choose based off of your different mice, how you go about it, and what you're pursuing, different a little bit of contract fulfillment. It's a game that, gosh, to tell you the truth, I don't know how well it did, but I could see it having an expansion. It has some really good stuff to it, and I think it leaves it open for future things to come. But that really depends on how well the game did and whether they want to put more money into it. As a family game, this is a hit. I've had my kids ask to play it, and it's something that my wife and kids, and I think those are the only people I've played it with, have really enjoyed it. And like I said, it has great table presence, and I don't think it stays too long. So the time of it says up to 60 to 120 minutes. I'd say it probably resolves within hour and a half, and I think it's a good time frame. So, and naturally, the more you play it, the faster you'll be at it, the more comfortable you'll be with your strategies and things like that. So, Hickory Dickory, number 40. Okay, number 39 is Carson City. This is the big box, so it's heavy. I'm going to just kind of like rest it here. Carson City is another worker placement game, and this is a game for 1 to 6 players, I believe. You can play it solo, and you can play it. Let's see. I'm pretty sure it's 6, but I don't think it's more. Yeah, it's 6. So you can play it with up to 6 players. Recommended at 13 and up, but I could see it at maybe a year or two younger. It's themed in the Old West, and it's worker placement, it's tile placement, it's dueling, and the scoring and worker placement is just a really neat treat. The special thing about Carson City and the worker placement is that multiple players can place their workers on the same spot. And if they do, a duel happens. And you can build up dueling power so that if you want to win that spot bad enough, you'll win the spot based off of your dueling power. In addition to that, at the beginning of each round, each player receives a character card that gives them an asymmetric ability. And that continues throughout the game. At the end of each round, you turn in your card and you get a different card. Anyway, this is a game that I played solo. I've played it at 2 players. And it's my opinion that this game would sing at higher player counts. I think that the interaction of dueling and trying to get spots that other people want is where this game really comes out. I haven't played any of the expansion material, but it is, I think it's a gem. I think it belongs in, definitely in my collection, and it's a game that I want to get to the table more often. So, Carson City at number 39. Number 38 is a game I don't own, and that is Seven Wonders Duel. Seven Wonders Duel player count is pretty obvious, 2 players, and it's one of the best 2-player games out there. It's got the same, or at least similar, card drafting. Instead of passing hands, you have a card set up on the table, and you can draft among the cards that are face up, and sometimes cards that are laid out are covering other cards, and you can't get those cards until they're uncovered by drafting the cards that are overlaying them. It's a great tug of war game that has some of the same mechanics from Seven Wonders, where you're going after military strength or science strength or those things like that, and those cards can give you help you get other cards or if you played Seven Wonders, that kind of stuff translates over. But it is so easy to get to the table, so easy to teach, and so easy to play. But the strategy varies each time. So the tug of war part of it is really neat, where you might score some points and then your opponent scores some points and brings it back the other way. And it's something that you just kind of get used to. Not so much get used to, but really it's something that it's a motivating factor during play. So, Seven Wonders Duel at number 38. Okay, number 37. This is a beast. And no, it doesn't fit in the calyx. Tidal Blades, Heroes of the Reef. This is part 1. There's a part 2 that it's cooperative, whereas this is competitive. This plays 1 to 4 players without the expansion. With the expansion, I believe you can play it up to 5. And I haven't used the expansion, though I have it. It is a dice leveling, boss battling, worker placement game. And set collection to some extent, because you're acquiring cards of different types that will help you in your fighting ability to battle bosses. You place workers at spots where you gain resources or cards or different types of things, and it's a great game. The only thing I have that I kind of makes me say is that sometimes I feel like the game ends and I have a feeling like I didn't get to enjoy what I like most about it enough. And what I like most about it is the dice. You start with certain dice, But as you go along, either through worker placement or uh, actually worker placement or use of cards, you can level up dice or get higher level dice. And these dice are better in the sense that they have more of the symbols that you want to roll. And as you go, you start to specialize dice such that it only has certain symbols, and the other symbols are not on those dice. You'd have to go in a different direction to get those dice. It depends on the cards you're trying to satisfy, because some of these cards, they're like contract fulfillment. You roll a certain number of symbols or certain symbols, and you pass off that card and you put it in your area. And the each character has their own player board where you can level up different stats based off of the uh, stunts or challenges that you do. And each character has their own deck of cards that you, as you level up a certain stat, you turn that over. It gives you certain abilities that are either unique to you or other characters have that too, but still help you. Anyway, it's a great game, and this is the deluxe version. You can still get it. They may have changed the box. If they did, that's probably a good thing, because like I said, this doesn't fit in the calyx. It actually sits on the top lengthwise, so it partially hangs out over the side. But it's a great game. It's great table presence, and I find myself wanting to play it more and more just because I love those dice. And this is coming from a guy who doesn't like luck-based games. So this is a game that I really like. So age range on this, I think it's a little higher. It says 14 and up. Yeah, that's probably about right. Maybe down to 12, but I'd say that older players would probably do better at this game than younger. Still a great family game. Okay, that was 37. And 36 is the Isle of Cats Explore and Draw. Now, if you had told me that I would put this higher than the standard edition of the Isle of Cats, I wouldn't have believed you. But it is higher for a reason, and that's because it is so easy to incorporate family and friends, even at a distance. I have played this game over the internet via like a Zoom meeting or something like that with people 100 miles away and with people thousands of miles away. It's a kind of like a card drafting game. You have an array of cards each round, and you pick either a column or a row. Sometimes you can pick the other. You generally only pick one, and you pick the other, the row, if you use a special power. But you pick a column, and you use those cards to fill out the cats on your boat. And it's just like Isle of Cats. You're trying to place cats on your boat with colors connecting to get more points, and use special objective cards to get more points. This version comes with dry erase boards and markers. But if you don't have that, you live 100 miles away, you can print off a card and use colored pencils. We have done this, and it's a great family activity. Yeah, nobody's interacting with each other, but everybody's doing the same thing, and it's something that we really enjoy. So the Isle of Cats Explore and Draw is a great family game because, one, it travels well, and if it doesn't, and if you're not traveling, it does the traveling for you. So the Isle of Cats Explore and Draw, number 36. Yeah, number 36. Okay. Number 35. This is a table hog. And that is Wonderland's War. Wonderland's War is a rondel worker placement, set, not set collection, but chip acquiring, bag building, area control game. A little bit of everything, but these days most games are. It is a huge game on the table. Like, you lay the board out and everything, and you kind of have a hard time finding a place for your character boards. One thing that actually bothers me is that some of the characters have been rebalanced, and um, I mean, they're pieces of paper basically, but they're not cheap. They're like, to get the new ones, they're like uh, eight or $10, and it's like that comes included in the new games, but the people who already own the base game have to buy it, even if they buy new material. So I have an issue with that. I think that it should have been included in the new expansion that's coming out, which is hasn't arrived yet, but it isn't. So I've got beef with that. But this is a great game. I like how the chips are used in the bag building, because you can level up your player board and gain new abilities. You can uh, get new characters to help you in your area control of the different areas on the map. It's a great board game. Even though it takes up all the table, it's got great table presence. So the player count goes up to 5. It says 25 minutes per player, but it feels longer than that. It really does. And the recommended age is 13 and up, and I can see that too. This is the same publisher as Tidal Blades, and I think they most of their games are probably going to be around that level. It's just the complexity that they have. But this is a great game. I like the bag building element of it, and it's something I want to get to the table again. So that's number 35. That's a big game, even in the box. Okay, number 34 is, where is it? There we go. Number 34 is Maple Valley. Maple Valley is the second installment of the Creature Comfort line, and it is not a reskin. It's a nice little franchise that they've got going, where in this one, it's not so much worker placement as is worker movement. Your workers depend on the cards you play in what paths they can take. So if you play a card that is a character that can travel on water, it can take water paths, or forest paths, or what's the other kind of path? Can't remember the other kind of path. Rocky paths, something like that. But I really like this. It's a game that I think is easy to get to the table. Maybe a little bit not quite as easy as some other games, but it lives up to the kids table board gaming mantra of making board games that are accessible enough for younger players, but still challenging for older players. The player count on this is up to 5. You can play it solo. It says 8 and up. Okay, so with the right, I don't get me wrong, I don't know if a 8-year-old kid would pull it out himself, learn it, and figure it out himself. But with the right mentoring, this game would sing for a family. And yeah, you might think to yourself, 8 years old, how challenging can it be for an adult? Look, I played it with people as old as in their 80s, and they loved it. As a matter of fact, they won. So it's resource management, uh, set collection, um, and uh, kind of like majority contribution to various projects that everybody can contribute to. So this is a game that I'm really glad I got. As a matter of fact, I kind of question that maybe it could have been higher. But anyway, Maple Valley, a definite get. Okay, number 33. Number 33 is Azul. Azul, 1 to 4 players. Truthfully, this is a simple game. If it's not a low age recommendation, I don't know what it would be. Yeah, it says 8 and up. This is a simple game. You could probably play this younger than 8, maybe not much younger than 8, but younger than 8. And it's, simple tile drafting. Well, not so simple. Simple in the sense that it's easy to do, but hard to manage. You've got these circles out in the middle of the board with 4 tiles on it each, and you're trying to fill out your board by building up enough of the tiles on the side that it will enable you to fill that spot on that row. Bird's eye view. But sometimes you end up having to take tiles that you don't want, and that counts as negative in scoring. So it's a very simple game to learn, not necessarily easy to master. It's, I think it plays differently at lower player counts. It scales well, but I think the fewer players you get, the more vicious it can be. It can turn into a take that, and you just got to be ready for that. It's a game that I think is easy to get to the table. It doesn't stay a long time, and when you're done, you can pack it up or play it again, and you'll feel just as satisfied. So, Azul, number 33. Number 32, an oldie but goodie. The Settlers of Catan, or Catan, or however you want to say it. Nowadays, it's just called Catan. But this game has opened the world of board gaming up to so many people, and I really like it. I have played the Cities and Nights expansion once, and I didn't really enjoy it. Maybe if I played it more often, I would play it again. But I'm not going to reinvest in a new edition of the game. I'd probably need the old ones, and the old ones are skyrocket high. I mean, people are selling them for like $100. I'm just not going to spend that much on it. So, if you don't know Catan, it's you're a few different ways to get points. You can build settlements, you can build roads, you can get cards, you can build your army, and the first person to 12 points, something like that, wins. Sometimes we get to playing it and we play to a higher point total, and then we remember it's at a lower one. So I don't remember. We play it enough that we just enjoy it whenever we play it. And I like this older version. I think it's a little bit more versatile. The art, for me, is better. It's a game that our family can sit down and play, and you roll your die, and whatever number pop up, whoever's got settlements on those hexes, on the corners of those hexes, gets those resources. It's a game that is very satisfying and opens itself up to strategies that force you to think in different ways. So that is Settlers of Catan. Sorry, I forgot player count on this. Player count, you can do it from 2 to 4 players without the extension. These days they call it an extension. Back then they called it the 5 to 6 player expansion. I have the 5 to 6 player expansion. Got it at a pretty good deal, and we can play up to 6. I think the age range is pretty low. They say 12 and up. I think this could go lower. I think you could play this with 10, or maybe a little bit younger. But you wouldn't want to go too low because you gotta make sure that they have fun too. So Settlers of Catan is number 32. Okay, number 31, last one on the list for today, is Septima. Septima is a worker placement, resource management, kind of basically contract fulfillment, and research tracks. And it's got a lot going on. I think that you can play it two ways. One is an introductory way, and we played it that way a few times, and one's the more advanced mode. And the art and the presentation is really great. There's also an element of it, a little bit kind of like a community bag building, but even then you're competing to have the majority in there to make it more likely that your pieces come out. And there's asymmetric abilities based off of what characters you get into your player board. It's a really good game. It's kind of makes it looks like it's themed around witches, but it's really just herbalists curing patients. And I really like the game where you're moving your characters to get different resources, but there's also kind of witch hunters that are out there after you, and if they get you, then obviously negative things happen. But this is a game that sits well on the table, plays well. I don't have a problem with the playing time. The age range is 12 and up, and I could see that, especially with the advanced mode. I could see that. It says 25 minutes per player. That's maybe optimistic. And it plays up to 4 players. So this, I think it's an underrated game. And because there was an element that some players thought was too chancy, the designer of the game actually posted an alternate way of playing to make it less chancy on Board Game Geek. So don't knock this because it has some elements that are not controllable or are too chancy. I've got a lot of games on here that have more chance involved with it than this, and I really enjoy Septima. So Septima, number 31. Okay, that is 10 more games down and just 30 to go now. So thanks for bearing with me, and remember, no board games were harmed in the making of this video, so set your mind at ease. Thanks for watching. See you next time.